The 1976 Error Bicentennial quarter dollar. Imagine holding in your hand a simple quarter just 25 cents. Now, imagine discovering that same coin is worth thousands, or even millions of dollars. Sounds unbelievable, right? But it's true. There are 1976 bicentennial quarters out there that have shocked collectors and experts alike, selling for jaw-dropping amounts due to rare minting errors and extraordinary conditions. So, before you check your pocket change or coin jar, sit tight because by the end of this story, you might just find out that one of the most valuable coins in America's history could be hiding right under your nose. The year 1976 was one of celebration. America was turning 200 years old, the bicentennial. To honor this massive milestone, the U.S. Mint released special coins, the quarter, half dollar, and dollar, all featuring unique patriotic designs. The Washington quarter got a brand new reverse, the famous Drummer Boy design by Jack L. Ahr. On the obverse, George Washington still stood proud, but instead of the usual date, it was stamped with 1776 to 1976. These coins were never meant to be rare. In fact, the U.S. Mint produced hundreds of millions of them for circulation. Yet, despite the huge numbers, a few of these coins turned out to be incredibly valuable, and it's all because of a handful of extraordinary minting errors. Now, let's take a closer look at what makes some 1976 bicentennial quarters worth mere cents, and others worth thousands or even millions of dollars. First, let's talk about the silver-clad bicentennial quarters. Most quarters struck for circulation in 1976 were made from a copper-nickel composition, that standard grayish coin we all recognize. But the U.S. Mint also produced special silver versions, made of 40% silver, and sold in collector sets. These silver quarters were struck in both Philadelphia and San Francisco, and if you find one with an S mint mark and a bright, silvery appearance, you've got something special. But here's where it gets truly exciting. Some of these silver planchets accidentally found their way into the regular coin production line. This means a few rare 1976 quarters were accidentally struck on silver planchets that were never meant for circulation. Imagine finding one of those in your change. In pristine condition, one of these silver error quarters could fetch anywhere from $5,000 to over $15,000 at auction. But there's an even wilder story. Some bicentennial quarters were mistakenly struck on 1974 dated planchets, meaning they have the 1776 to 1976 design but were struck on leftover coin blanks intended for earlier issues. These transitional error coins are so rare that even seasoned collectors may never see one in their lifetime. One such piece sold for nearly $40,000 because of its unique minting story and condition. And that's just the beginning. Among the most famous and talked about errors is the double die obverse. This occurs when the die used to strike the coin shifts slightly between strikes, creating a noticeable doubling of the design, especially visible in the inscriptions like "Liberty, in God We Trust," and the dual date 1776 to 1976. These double die errors are incredibly desirable. Even moderate examples can sell for hundreds or thousands depending on the clarity of the doubling. One sharply struck double die bicentennial quarter recently sold for more than $3,000, and collectors believe even more valuable examples could still be undiscovered in rolls or old collections. Now let's talk about another type of minting anomaly: off-center strikes. These happen when the coin blank is not perfectly aligned with the dies, causing part of the design to be missing or shifted off to one side. The more dramatic the misalignment, the more valuable the coin. Bicentennial quarters with 10% to 20% off-center errors can bring in $100 to $300, but examples that are 50% or more off-center, especially when both the obverse and reverse are still partially visible, can easily sell for over $1,000. Another mind-blowing rarity comes from wrong planchet errors. Sometimes, the U.S. Mint accidentally struck bicentennial quarter designs on planchets meant for other denominations like a dime or a nickel. Imagine a bicentennial quarter design on a dime-sized planchet. These coins are ultra-rare and can fetch tens of thousands of dollars. For instance, a 1976 bicentennial quarter struck on a dime planchet sold for an astonishing $25,000 due to its rarity and collector demand. Then there are missing clad layer errors, where one side of the coin is missing the outer copper-nickel layer, exposing the darker copper core beneath. This gives the coin a distinctive two-tone look: silver on one side, reddish-brown on the other. Such bicentennial quarters often sell for several $100s, and pristine examples graded by PCGS or NGC can reach $1,000 or more. And we can't forget the proof bicentennial quarters, the ones struck with special care and sold in collector sets by the San Francisco Mint. These coins feature a shiny, mirror-like surface with frosted designs. Most are common, but if you happen to find one with a major minting error, like a double strike or an off-metal strike, you're looking at a potential goldmine. Some proof errors have crossed the $10,000 mark at major coin auctions. One of the most jaw-dropping sales in bicentennial quarter history involved a silver-clad prototype, a test strike coin created before mass production. These prototypes were never meant to leave the mint, yet a few slipped out over the years. When one appeared at auction, collectors went wild. The final sale price? A staggering over $200,000. But wait, it gets even crazier. Some bicentennial quarters are rumored to have been struck on experimental planchets or with unique die varieties that set them apart from any other coin. These mysterious pieces have fetched up to $500,000 in private sales, proving that even the most ordinary-looking quarter could hide an extraordinary story. So how can you tell if your 1976 quarter is worth a fortune? The key lies in the details. Start by checking the mint mark: D for Denver, S for San Francisco, and no mint mark for Philadelphia. The San Francisco coins, especially the silver-proof versions, are often the most valuable when errors are involved. Next, examine the coin's surface under good lighting. Look for doubling in the lettering, unusual coloration, missing details, or off-center designs. If something looks odd, don't dismiss it. That weird-looking coin could be worth thousands. Collectors also place immense value on condition. Coins graded MS65 or higher by PCGS or NGC can sell for hundreds of dollars even without errors. Add an error or unique die variety, and the price skyrockets. For example, a regular 1976 D bicentennial quarter in MS68 condition once sold for over $6,000 simply because it was nearly flawless. Imagine what a similar coin with a rare error could bring. Another important factor is provenance, the coin's history of ownership and documentation. If a coin has been part of a famous collection or has appeared in major coin publications, its value increases significantly. Some collectors are willing to pay premium prices just for the story behind the coin. And here's something else worth noting: many collectors believe there are still undiscovered 1976 bicentennial quarter errors out there. With millions produced and distributed nationwide, it's entirely possible that some rare misstrikes or transitional pieces have yet to surface. Every day, people are finding valuable coins in pocket change, old drawers, and inherited coin jars. The next big discovery could be yours. In fact, not long ago, a collector in Pennsylvania stumbled upon what appeared to be an ordinary bicentennial quarter. But under magnification, experts found it was struck on a silver planchet and had subtle die rotation. That ordinary coin ended up selling for over $18,000. Stories like these remind us why coin collecting remains one of America's favorite pastimes: the thrill of the hunt and the dream of uncovering hidden treasure. So what makes the 1976 bicentennial quarter so special? It's not just the design or the patriotic symbolism. It's the timeless appeal. This coin marks one of the most important anniversaries in U.S. history: 200 years of independence. Combine that historical importance with the thrill of rare minting errors, and you have one of the most collectible coins ever made. Collectors today view the bicentennial quarter as a cornerstone of modern U.S. coinage. It bridges the gap between everyday change and the world of high-value numismatics. Whether you're a seasoned collector or someone who's just curious about that shiny quarter in your drawer, there's no denying the magic behind this coin. Now, imagine this: a coin worth 25 cents turning into a payday of hundreds of thousands of dollars. A silver-clad proof error selling for $20,000. A misstruck off-metal piece reaching $50,000. Or an experimental prototype breaking the $200,000 barrier. And yes, some unique bicentennial quarter errors, especially those struck on incorrect planchets or with dramatic doubling, have been valued at nearly $1 million. These coins are more than metal, they're pieces of history, minted during a time of national pride and celebration. Each one tells a story of craftsmanship, error, and luck. And in the world of coin collecting, luck can turn spare change into a small fortune. So, the next time you come across a 1976 bicentennial quarter, don't just toss it aside. Hold it up to the light. Check for that S mint mark. Look for doubling. Feel the weight. You might be holding one of the rarest and most valuable quarters ever struck by the U.S. Mint. Because behind that drummer boy and those iconic dual dates lies a mystery that still captures the imagination of collectors nearly 50 years later. The 1976 bicentennial quarter isn't just a coin, it's a treasure hunt, a time capsule, and for a lucky few, a golden ticket worth hundreds of thousands or even millions of dollars.